high-level anti-Trump bias in the FBI. Joining me now, former White House Communications Director for a few days, Anthony Scaramucci. Good evening.
They call it a mooch. It was so short, Jeanine,
It's a
you can't
mooch
call
and
it
not a Scaramucci. I got it.
It's just a mooch.
All right, Anthony, are you at all surprised by the IG report, which actually doesn't recommend any criminal charge, any further investigation? It just said, you know, there are a few errors in judgment when there are so many fundamental flaws that all went in the favor of Hillary Clinton. And I'm not going to ask you to repeat the report, but where do we go from here?
Well, the problem is, and I'm sure that the president is probably disappointed with this report because it's not 100% accurate. They've sanitized and glossed over a lot of the things that actually happened. And so you're getting the teeny top tip of the iceberg, Judge. And what's down deep below that is a real manifestation of corruption against the Trump campaign, the candidate Trump, and then eventually when he was president. And so I think that Director Comey, I just find the sanctimony of his book now. I had read the book in preparation for some interviews, and I went back to it tonight to look through the levels of sanctimony. So he knew this report was coming out. He knew his friends in the FBI would protect him and sanitize this report. And I got to tell you something. The president, once again, is correct. He talked about people eavesdropping on him. They talked about informants or spies, whatever you want to talk about. He made the right judgment in firing James Comey, despite the firefight that ensued thereafter. And so, for me, I'm disappointed in the report, but I'm not surprised, Judge, because these people protect each other.
You're not surprised. You're disappointed in the report. Everybody feels the same way. Where do we go from here? What do we have to do to change things so the people are accountable?
Well, I mean, I think this is what the president is absolutely best at. And so I think once he steps back and digests all the information, my guess is he's going to appoint people that he trusts, that are on both sides of the aisle for that matter, and they're going to come up with a protocol to protect these agencies from these sinister rogue type people. And so my guess is by the end of the year, or certainly maybe after the election, the president will probably have a protocol or a suggested protocol to use on a going forward basis to protect Republicans and Democrats. And so what you know, being a judge, that we're all subservient to the rule of law in our country. The president knows that better than anybody, and so it's going to be incumbent upon him, and I believe it will be one of his legacies, Judge, that he returns the luster and the glory to these organizations that they deserve.
Well, he can't do it. Anthony, he cannot do it with Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein running the place.
Well, I know,
and if the Dems win the House, you know as well as I do what they plan to do. And so we can't wait until after the election.
No, I understand all that, but I do think that even if, and by the way, I predict that we're going to keep the House, but even if we don't keep the House and they move for the nonsense towards impeachment, the president's poll numbers will likely get stronger. I mean, the American people are now on to the political intrigue and the political shenanigans and the politics of personal destruction that take place in Washington.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think they believe the president and take him at his word that there was absolutely no collusion inside the campaign.
Well, yeah, first of all, there's
really trying to do is...
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I said all he's really trying to do is improve the American economy, improve the quality of life for all Americans. And how about wages, Judge? For the first time in 12 years, you're seeing sustainable wages for middle and lower middle class families. And so the guy's doing a great job despite all of these headwinds and obstacles.
Well, let's just hope that the American people see it, and his poll numbers are great. So everything in that regard is good. Anthony Scaramucci, thanks for being with us. And Charlie Kirk is still on deck tonight. And next, the panel is ready for action. Tommy Lahren and Chris Hahn ready to talk immigration and more. You don't want to miss this one next.